Inside the store is a bustling atmosphere. AI is also curious about the items here. The staff is very enthusiastic. Lord Gam 8 just walked in. A beautiful character approaching. Salute, bow voice. Hello, please deposit here. The Viscount was startled by the kind attitude of the staff. I'm not used to it, but I can still nod. From stripping after sending luggage to a shelf, on a shelf filled with jars. It's very horizontal. He picked up a box to watch the surprise milk tea. What is milk tea, and the norm is that each person can only buy 2 bottles. The staff saw that he was so confused and approached him. About Theo, sir. This is our Atlantic City specialty. It is a great drink to wait for guests. And now in your hands is a special version. It was very different from the things that other nobles bought. Fully promoted. Quality and discount. The Viscount was a bit surprised to find it so good. That's what I said. Then give me 2 bottles. He looked over to the other side. Another noble is also being referred by staff for goods. The other B is the 2 men who are talking about compressed biscuits. You see, this is a cookie. I heard the military is using it. The military is using compressed biscuits. This is an improved version. What the military uses SAO can be sold here. Viscount suspect or biscuits. I heard that the military hardware of the Atlantic City is very good. Although it's a good version, try it. I thought the prince would pick it up and put it in the shopping cart. Still from behind came a man who said, "Look, this isn't the Viscount. I can't believe you went to the Atlantic. Come at this time not afraid of the 4 princes misunderstanding SAO. He said that Lord Denis was the master of the city." Viscount Liver 8 sighed without paying attention. I am a great noble of the West. The 4 princes will do nothing to me. Let alone the wonder of the Atlantic City. I've heard that for a long time. Always wanted to come see it. The Viscount laughed. It's like meeting a like-minded friend. I think so too. This Atlantic City is really exciting. No matter the city planning, or it's a private operation. It's all worth learning. The 2 men looked at Liu Feng discussing the work in the distance. I admire talent. Business of the owner of the Atlantic City. Unfortunately, he refused the invitation of the 4 princes. I don't know how. Viscount Liver 8 says. Perhaps the arrogance of genius should on the side of the wind. A businessman came to Liu Feng said, "Dear sir, I want to work with you." Liu Feng laughed loudly. Let's talk about cooperation later. There's a chance. Today is just the opening day of the supermarket. Viscount Gam 8 exclaimed at the carefree of Liu Feng. Besides, look at you. The 4 princes are coming to the door. And he's still worried about the supermarket. Master Liu Feng. City business is a good guy. I just don't know how to fight on the battlefield. The 4 princes have an army of thousands of horses. That the Atlantic has only been up for a year to fight each other. The Atlantic is hard to avoid. Lord Gani also agreed. That's right. At most, the 4 princes will be here in 2 days. Wait until we get 10 intelligence. We'll be on our way back. Ellie saw the 2 Viscount. Rambat and Geni on the other side. Young master of the city. Copy and mark in military port construction plan. Do we need to invite them to a meeting? Say Feng shakes the landing head temporarily. Now get there. No need. It's just going to make people feel like we need help. Death outside entered. He came to the side of the wind, whispered. According to the feedback of the middle death team. And the horseman of the 4 princes is near. 3 days to the Atlantic City. Du Feng replied yes. Looks like some people are being forced out of time. Ellie immediately summoned all the managers. Prepare to open a campaign meeting. Yes, master. Ellie replied and went out on the Atlantic City. On the street, the clump echoed. A group of soldiers in uniform. Modern weapons go on the street. People around you see this. Especially amazing. Everyone was talking excitedly. To Viscount Gambat and Genny. To see such a magnificent parade. Surprised to look at each other. Viscount Gam 8 told Viscount Genny he next door. The army of the 4 princes has arrived. We should leave. From stripping Gani. I was surprised not to expect the Atlantic. The number of soldiers in the Atlantic is not small. In Fu, the owner of the Atlantic City. People are talking about policy. In the coming war. Point to a point on the map. Analysis of the army of the 4 princes. There are 3 days of road. They're probably here. We're here to catch them. Curious fisherman, this terrain is not very suitable, the young man. It's a wild field. We're not fighting ambush this time. This time the enemy is in front. The ambush position is not always met. In the Wind is working at full size to analyze the situation. Despite the equipment of soldiers under his recruit, has far exceeded the level of this era. But most soldiers are new recruits. Now we need a real fight to train them. Prepare in advance for the attack on the 6th generation. And then I'll delegate. Our goal this time. He defeated the 4 princes at once. At the same time, it's Somalia. He told the recruits to get ready. We start tomorrow. Logistics. Fish 3 will chase us after we start, but don't get too far. The fisherman raised his hand clearly. Ellie next to the young master asked. We don't always get Tenzin Sao. I got 10 Jin. The West will be unified. Then we will be able to completely. We've cut off contact with internal forces. He thought for a moment and then replied, not temporarily. The birth is an important point. In my military port plan, the future will surely take. But now, we have no reason to leave. Hit Tenzing. If forced to act, it could lead to a crisis in other cities. Once they get together, it's a bit of a hassle. Not to hit a city. You don't have to use the military. The city needs someone to manage it, while taking over the city at the same time. We have to plow our people into it. Let them control the city. That's how cities work for us. Even though I've arranged people to go to school and go to practice facilities. But the time has come when they can carry one. I still need time. Ellie saw that Zhu Feng thought like that. Admire the Wind. Master thought Chu was too full. When will I be able to do that? To save Ellie's head and encourage Ellie, that is also very beneficial. In the time I'm not here. The Atlantic thanks to you. Uncle Bone Nunla and everyone will help her. Ella gets her head rubbed, then happy to blush. The tail behind wagged happily. I don't forget to say Mogaba. She chalked up this document show Noju in the newspaper tomorrow. The person opposite respectfully nods in response. After you've assigned the job. Put everything in place. Across the streets of Atlantic City, knife sound. Echoing through the streets of the Atlantic. Sell the newspaper. The 4 princes stand. Newspaper. She's got the wealth and food of the West to prepare for treason. Master Liu Feng. She received the crown of Princess Lucy for the peace lights of the West. He decided to punish the four princes. Everyone who hears this news is talking furiously. Oh my God, nutrition turns out Liu therapy. The prince who tried to murder me supported Princess Lucy. I support the Lord. Zinko is a traitor, so stop it. They want to come get our food. Master Feng will hold a sports festival at the school. Let's go and have a look. Everyone quickly invited each other to school to hear those words. The two Viscount Gani and Gambat were amazing. I can't believe you're acting so fast. Let's go to the festival too. Let's see what power he has to deal with the four princes. At the school where the reunion took place, people of the Atlantic City have gathered here for a long time. AI is also excited to have fun. He stood on the radio proclaiming everyone. Now, someone is like a tiger. To target the assets that we've worked so hard to build. It's stealing all of us. Does everyone agree? Everyone replied in unison. The sound echoed through the school. Keep your hands up. Good steel voice for letting others. It is not easy to despise our homeland. Let us go defeat them. The victory will be ours. It belongs to us. It belongs to us. Save Feng jump on the horse, stretch the reins, umbrella, start. Below are the people of the Atlantic City. I wish you the best of luck. I support you as a master. Liu Feng's army, between the words that used to shout, and the blessing of all the people. The Atlantic has never been united, like a block like that. Until the soldiers are gone, still hear the cry. Victory belongs to us. The Viscount saw the parade for the first time. Guess like that. You both have changes about the upcoming war, from stripping Genie said. God, the equipment of these knights is exquisite. And I've never seen it either. Let's fight any army that's as hot as they are. Lord Gam 8 also continues what I recorded. I'm not sure the band will lose. See, we don't have to leave. It's not far from the Atlantic. The army of the four princes. Count Polly is leading his army into the Atlantic said. Our army has lasted too long. Do you need to stop for a moment? The Count felt distant from the Count. Open your voice of contempt and fear of something. As long as we're self-sufficient before the battle, we're right. Do the nobles still follow me? From stripping clip, turn your head, look out the back, say still follow. The nobles of the towns we pass through. There is no lack of an AI. Follow all behind. I can't throw it away. I want to wait for us to beat the storm. Go get some good stuff. And then he let out a cold, a bunch of bugs. Count Polly remains indifferent. Why not let them follow? I'll wait until I catch him. Treat them like traitors. I think in the hands of these nobles, there's a lot of good stuff. The detective in front of the movie horse remotely goes to shout the newspaper. From afar appeared an army of more than 1,000 men. A servant fell on his knees. The Polly Earls standing on the hill. Look at the army of the Atlantic. Suspect or ask the detective that is the army of Liu Feng Sao. The doctor is not sure about this, not sure. The Viscount was helpless before the uselessness of his subordinates. From behind there comes the announcement. The enemy has a messenger. They say their boss has. He invited the earls to look at each other suspiciously. At the camp where the soldiers of the Atlantic City, Liu Feng is sitting leisurely drinking tea. It's like this isn't a battlefield. I'm traveling. Mina stood beside pouring tea. I saw the four princes coming. Speak softly to the wind. Young master, they are here. Put the tea down on the table. The impatient face said. I've made 3 teapots and made me wait so long, and exiled him outside the camp. Towards the count. The Duke of Lip was a little surprised. The blue light fluttered in the wind. You dare to leave the Atlantic. He looked at the people in front laughing. Surrender, this is your last chance. The Baron clenched tightly and repeated his surrender. Finally, he reached out his hand after shouting, exile. You can't see the army. Behind my back. This is 1,000 riders. It's led by Count Pulitzer himself. Do you think you can win? A stripping poly profile on the side, cold, sinister face. Get out. The Viscount has just burst into his flames. Reluctant to answer. Yeah. He looked at the boy in front of resentful eyes. You are the wind. He killed my 3 sons. He closed his eyes and laughed. Your son who died on my hands really much. If you can't remember, then it probably doesn't matter. To be spoken so contemptuously. Viscount Clip angry close up. Save this bastard. Count Polly curves a side corner mouth. Well. You have come to this country, and you dare to provoke me. He pointed straight ahead. Save Feng. Do you dare to fight a noble battle against me? Under the bright sunshine. The more the wind exudes a radiant air marshal. He crossed his arms and laughed and said it was back in exile. Mina blankly asked me if I had any questions. You don't have to agree with this mess. I gave him 2 knives to kill, not Sao. Mina explained to me, don't forget. This time we're mostly training. This is something that recruits haven't been through in a war. If you refuse, you may lose your spirit. Will cause 7 unnecessary damage. Then there's blame on the people of the Atlantic. So this match you have to accept. Mina clasped one hand to the right. So I'm going to prepare a little bit. Save Feng immediately said. The opposite said that the nobles fought. You're not a noble, of course you are. He said. He rubbed Mina's head gently. You're not used to letting your woman fight. Kill with people. Please wait for me to return. Oh, what a hero. Mina looked at you in front of her handsome eyes. The air. That's the boy of 4 letters. The real economy is even more subtle. Mina shyly looked at him softly. Yes, boss. This side from stripping the clip turned to the side. Sister Pulley. Why do we still have to fight the exile? They directly arranged for soldiers to arrive. It's not over. Count Polly turned out a stupid scold. Do you see why? We're marching in front of the 5th. It's already stretched. What kind of force is there? He looked over there. I saw that my army was tired and a little bored. To sit down and rest in the midday sun. The clip saw such a scene, not blaming the police. The Lord wants to fight back. Turns out, I want to extend my time. Let the reformed knights assemble. I think Chu is perfect. Then Master Polly, we will send ID later. Polly looked to the side and said, oh. Talk about it. There is a tall young man in front, with short brown hair. He's wearing knight's armor. Put your hands on your chest and say hello. King Lee see you. You are looking for me. Polly walked up to me and I heard people say, "You've done a lot of duels before, never lost either. You're going to deal with the wind later. Find a chance to kill him. Don't bring him back." The young man bowed respectfully yes. Liu Feng was wearing armor. Riding on horseback, hand draws a sword, the army. Young man gets Count Polly's arrival. He also rides horses. Go out in front of the whole army. His hand held the spear, and he walked standing in Liu Feng. Jia also flew to the top with a spear. Chang's bright sun, the scene between the two became stress so intense that every leaf rustling beneath my feet could be under the sun. The goat fluttered its wings with a boasting sound. She looked at the wind below. I remember my sister praying, "You on the battlefield. Please protect the young man. You said you're not in the military. To do? You have to fight alone with people. I don't know what to think." Young man in front. Hold the spear in front of you. Let out a powerful voice. Kill over there. The wind just curled up to the corner of its mouth without moving, the unchanging mind in the midst of life. The goat saw that and jumped in the hell. Then I was threatened for being stupid. Here holds a will knife. I'm going to punish the horse to scream. The goat's skin rolled its eyes in its lap. Not in time. Then over there. Count Polly and Viscount Lip also smudge mouth. Laugh triumphantly. Then over here. Mina and Niu Dai also rolled their eyes nervously. Look at the situation ahead. Kier also bit his teeth in his heart, laughing sure. Laughing for an hour and then laughing for an hour. The officer in front and the machine in the neck popped out. His wounds were cut off in the same way. Turns out the wind was faster than him. Hurry up and run out the back and cut him. Like lightning strikes in the middle of playing Kwong, the Count and the Viscount here exclaimed in amazement. What's above? The goat saw this situation and stopped hesitating. This is Flay. I'm sure this guy still needs your protection. Us stripping Polly angry. Hands up in front of me yelling at this loser. Lord Lip gave the order to leave. His horse also followed his hot air. And jump up. Lord Lip also shouted to kill me. On the military side of exile, as the Lord also gave orders to send off. Prepare to shoot. Hundreds of arrows. Listen to the command. Move forward minutes. Count Polly's army had no shield. Just hit the arrow. The man who was shot shouted, I got shot and saved my life. Those who were shot saw blood and panicked. The wind was afraid of blood and went to battle. The riders who were hit by arrows rushed out. They don't respect their soldiers. Stay out of the way. The scene was chaotic. Those who hold up shields and pass through. He turned blue and exclaimed, What bow is this that can shoot through the center of a shield? Liu Feng's army came to the. Mina leads the army. Hands up and shout out orders. Give the victory to save the great man. The soldiers were fighting for the first time. The air is like a storm. All around the horse. Everyone is in the mood to kill in unison. After the battle is over, as if you are watching, Count Polly and Viscount Lip is tied up in front of him. The old Count's face was wailing. My back umbrella. Next to the Viscount, a depressed bow face that said, Oh, oh. The Count turned his head furiously. I am a noble. You're not supposed to treat us like that. As the great does not say no, sign him one at the beginning. You're now a silent prisoner. Or it won't be a fist next time. He was punched. His face was pale, and he spat out all his saliva. Uttered a sound. He had a lump on his head as big as a fist. Just look at the fish and say it. Fisherman, arrange someone to take them back to Atlantic City. The fisherman strictly obeyed the order. Turn around and say. And then reorganize the army into Somalia. The fisherman put his hand on his forehead. Seriously, yes. Count Polly heard Liu Feng say that. You came to Somalia. What are you going to do? Under the sun, the more the wind exudes the glory of the main male. Eyes that give off a pale smile. Of course, the trader commented. At the outskirts of Somalia. It's dark now. There's a rush from below. Hurry up. In 30 minutes, you have to adjust the whole thing. Do you hear me clearly? It turned out to be Liu Feng's army, preparing to strike at night. When people set traps, they check them out. Everyone is in a hurry to work. Go to the tent. Give each person a piece of paper. This is defense intelligence in Somalia. By the intelligence community, we've got 10 people in one piece. You have to seriously remember the specific location on it. Captain, your mission is the eastern gate of the Somalia. Stop their way back. The fisherman's head was clear. You're next in line with Egina. Your squad will be in a hot air balloon. Coordinate with the bow and arrow team. Suppress all enemies who resist. They can't organize as a team. The counterattack was effective. Egina nodded and laughed. I just heard that I know. It's going to be an interesting fight. Liu Feng continued to say Goatskin. You and the bird people are in charge of the death squads. Isina's hot air balloon. Robbing the west gate. After success, fire the fireworks. The goat heard that. It's simple, I know. Turn the wind to the side of Niu 2. After you see the red signal. Immediately send troops into Somalia by the west gate. Take control of the entire base on intelligence. The second in command put his hand on his forehead. Mina over there saw that everyone was assigned to work. Go back and ask, what's wrong with you? Mina replied to Mina. I need you to lead the wolf squad. When chaos entered the fortress. Catch the 4 princes. As long as they don't have a leader. Then this Somalia city will be 7 rafts immediately. Mina, the spirit in your heart, give it to me. 2 spouses are like that. He rubbed her head a little. Dog food for the whole team. Let's get back to being serious. Time of action. At AM. We've got to get to Somalia now. Tomorrow, we will have a party in the city. Be a little careful. Until then, I don't want to be without anyone. Everyone in front of you is clear. Somalia at AM. Around quiet. The Somali city's surveillance troops are on patrol. Above the city walls. Suddenly, a man looked up in his bewildered eyes. What is that? Everybody raise your eyes. Above is a hot air balloon, flashing in the sky. His body was dim under the moonlight. It's mysterious, and it's a little bit dangerous. Everyone on patrol, your face turned and you screamed danger. Then the arrow came down from above the balloon. The soldiers on patrol below were shot and shouted. Isina holding the bow, leading the order. People are free to shoot arrows. Attention can't be, so that anyone who causes a sound alert. It was clear that all the soldiers below were struck by surprise. It became chaos. They shouted carefully to be attacked. They struggled to dodge the arrow. It's pouring down like rain. The blue-haired soldier turned and looked at the man next to him. Hurry up and tell him the distance is too far. Also our name. You can't shoot them at all. The shield bearer struggled to dodge the arrow, glanced at the balloon and scolded the damn mine. What is that thing after all? Is the magic SAO? They're messed up and talking fast. Go and ring the alarm. All the arrows are divided, and they're going to the middle Lao. Do not let the enemy approach the center warning. They have to get close to the wall quickly. The blue soldier said, Lord, we can't go through there. They shot their arrows very accurately. The so-called master replied with a serious face. If one can't get through, many can. Above all for me, or I'll kill you all now. They have no way of resisting orders. Killed anyway. He had to take the shield and charge forward. The same name goes on and on. Those who are killed, those who are struggling. The blue-haired soldier came near the bell. He was as happy. The opportunity to live is right in front of you. A trail of blood splashed out. He quickly fell down and lay motionless in a pool of blood. Next to him came a man with a sharp spear. The goat picked up the spear and looked at him coldly for an hour. The old man saw that before, and his face changed. Blue and pale, and crawled back. He looked at the warrior in front. The man who is threatened is afraid. God in front of him. It's not just goats. Isina with the soldiers on the balloon swing. That flew down the wall. There's a golden light in the sky. It's a blast. Turned into fireworks in the bright sky. Over here, in a tunnel, somewhere in Somalia. I heard the sound of the fireworks. Mina waved her hand and ordered the soldiers to go up. I heard a clap outside. The four princes also looked out the window. He looked up at the fireworks. When is it time for someone to fire fireworks? A sword held up in front. Students riding horses ahead of the army full of energy. Killed the mighty army of moisture into the city. At a western outpost in Somalia's capital now. Here everyone gets it. I believe the city is under attack. A man in a hurry. Don't panic. Get your hat right. Suddenly, there was a shout. Be careful. He's an hour. Just in time to turn. I saw the sword of the dark-skinned boy. Past my neck. Not in time to react. The blood spat out, and he died in a pool of blood. It's a horrible sight. At the same time in Somalia, a glass filled with wine fell down. The four princes looked astonished and shouted with anger. What if someone attacks the city? He slammed his hands down on the table. The servant in front of him bowed his face in fear. Yes, your majesty, the enemy is attacking the west gate, and it is already 7. The fat prince said. How many of them are? The man below, whose eyes glanced sideways and trembled. This is still unclear. The prince was angry. It's useless. The enemy is already at the door. I don't know how many useless people there are. He put his hands behind his back, impatient to go back and forth. Tell them to stop this city. 1,000 riders. It's absolutely no problem to protect this city. Did you hear that? His subordinate nodded. It's not like he dropped his head than he did. There is a new sword. The color of blood drops down. Mina looked coldly at the person in front of her and said, Don't scream anymore. The fat body in front was surprised. He turned to look at Mina. Face discoloration. His mouth whispered, Fucking rush to run away. A quick knife in front of him. The powerful voice boomed to stand still. He did not dare to move Mina closer. Four princes looking teen brunettes in front of fear. Who are you? Attacking the prince in the city. Assaulting the royal family is a serious crime. Mina went and patted him on the back of the neck. An unpleasant face that breathes out a breath. That's a lot of talk. You look down, fat body lying motionless on the ground tied up. Yes, outside of Somalia. In Liu Feng's tent still flashed the light. The sound of the water coming out. A bucket of cold water is pouring in the face of the four immovable princes who were bound. He had just fainted from cold water. Wake up. He put it in his mouth. He was angry and did not speak clearly. It only makes hoo-hoo sound. Just let him talk, yes. End words. Please come and put the rag in his mouth. Dry Nail immediately yelled up. Who are you to treat me like that? Sitting on a chair. Look at him tied up at his feet. And grinned against his chin. That's interesting. Maybe you didn't send him to the Atlantic City. You invited me to come, and you didn't know me. I can't help but remember what he said. You are the wind. A baron. But you dare to treat it that way. With royalty like that? You want to betray. As soon as his words came out, his chin landed. The teeth bite the tongue. Water spray mouth raw. Your face is pale. The eyes of the seven gods look terrible. Mina got angry and stomped on his head. Scrub to smoke. Dry Nail's multi-tearful floor screeching up, Stop, you're going bald. You're going bald. The wind looked at this and laughed. Your Highness, make no mistake. The traitor is not me. I'm here to stop the rebellion. Mina turned her head and looked at the wind. You go on. He went down and waited after returning to the Atlantic City. Let Lucy handle it. He quickly raised the four princes. Hands up on your forehead. Obey orders. The next morning, the sun began to glow. Somalia looks dead after the end. Everywhere there are remnants of war. Underneath the silence, no noise as usual. Suddenly, there was a panic in the middle of Somalia. Save the land. Save the rescue with. Outside, the nobles are being stopped by Liu Feng's soldiers. They looked at me laughing and laughing. Save the land. This is all a misunderstanding. I wanted to come to you. But all the four princes do not give. Save the land. You guys don't remember me. Before I've come to your saint of the Atlantic. Join the auction. Mina is angry at you. Save Feng. He quickly put his hand on Mina's shoulder and prevented her from speaking. Let's go. The leader saw the wind go dark, face panicked. Tell your men not to go. Fortunately, there were soldiers in the way. If not, our king must run to embrace his master. Our lord is gone. You two can leave for a while. Out of the crowd. Mina Limeback gripped the holy power. A little angry, say, these nobles are the ones who have to wind on either side. It's not shameful. He looked away laughing. You don't have to pay attention to those guys. This type of person will meet more and more. I turned to look at Mina. Took me to a pretty high place recently, a trip. I'd like to confirm something. Mina is bewildered. Oh. They both went to an empty land on the hill. In front of Somalia. You can see the whole city in front of you. The morning light is shining down. The whole land became vibrant, and Chan was at peace. Mina looked at the paper and came closer. Ask the young master, are we going to put something here? I want to hear a voice, you see. The west is surrounded by mountains and rivers. The road goes west and west from the mainland. It must go through the city.